Welcome to Attican Plays Mashinky. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Series 1, Episode 9 of Mashinky. Now, in the last episode, we worked on improving our delivery of ingots so that we could create iron tokens and advance. And we did advance into the electric age, so we are currently in the early era of electricity. And to move on to the next era, here's what it's going to cost us. Money, diesel tokens, steel tokens, and a new one, electricity tokens or power tokens. So let's just pay the money. We've got it. That's all we can pay right now. And we're going to take another look at these as far as our production and how it's going. But the first thing I want to do is kind of finish off the idea. It's amazing to me I didn't do this. I'm a little embarrassed. We're going to go to the foundry, and we have extensions that haven't been done to this foundry. So we're going to give it an improved blast furnace, and we're going to give it this sheet metal mill. And now 15 ore and 16 coal will produce 16 and a half ingots and 7 coal tokens, so much better. And let's go up here and do the same thing, see if we've got any opportunities here. Yep, we can put in the sheet metal mill. We already had the improved blast furnace. Oh, look at this. Now here's a new one. I need to go back to the other one too. An electric arc furnace. So if you have ore and electricity, it produces 3 ingots and an electricity coin. What do they really call it? Okay, well, anyway, I don't know what to call it. It's electricity, power, I don't know what to call it. So earn at least 100 power tokens and build at least 2 upgrades for power plants. So let's take a look at that. And we're probably going to have to, at some point we're going to have to run bigger, faster trains. And it's just, we need to really move, to really rock and roll here. But at the same time, we don't have to. We're fine the way we are. But you know what I'm saying. If we want to get bigger, better, faster, we just need bigger, better, faster trains. Okay, so let's look at power and what does it mean. Well, first of all, we can kind of notice that these industries now have this little lightning bolt. See the black lightning bolt right there? One over here on the coal. And the towns have them. One here and what have you. That represents the consumption of electricity. Those are places we can connect to and provide them with electricity. So how do we make electricity? Well, that's pretty simple, really. We have a coal power plant right here. If we provide them with 4 coal, it will produce a token. It also, that building, produces 8 power. Now that power is actually connections. So it produces 8 connections, which means that if we had this coal plant running, we could connect to this town and this mill and the coal mine and this town up here, which we haven't even put in our system yet, and what have you, and 8 different connections to provide power. And when we have the power, it gives us benefits. So, for example, we saw here in the foundry, if we have this electric arc furnace installed in the foundry, then we can get power, and for 3 tokens, we produce a bunch of stuff, including other tokens, right? So the challenge then, of course, just becomes supplying a steady stream of coal to this coal plant, and then the coal plant itself can be extended. It has 8 connections, and then we can extend it and give it fuel treatment and transformer substation. And what that does is then again gives us more things where you have 3 3 coal will produce a power token plus 3 more connections. And here, this transformer would get two coal would give us another token and 3 more connections. So you could have 14 connections from this one coal power plant. So 14 of your industries or towns on the map could be powered from that one coal station, as long as you can keep coal there. Then we go over here, and this is the one I mentioned. look at this location. What have they done to us? We'll deal with it. An oil power station. So it is very, very similar, except now we need barrels of oil, which produce tokens, and then it's going to generate 8 connections, and we can connect it to 8 different things, and we're going to be able to extend it once we have power tokens. I should have said that back on the coal one. The kind of catch-22 on these power stations to upgrade them is you have to have the tokens that they generate. You have to accumulate a bunch of them in order just to do the upgrade. So here we could upgrade for liquid fuel and crude oil. So in this one, it not only you have the same deal with the 6 extra connections, but with the crude oil, now you've got a different source of power. You can go directly from an oil well to the oil power station and keep it running that way as well. Okay, so that's the generation of power, and that's a brief look at the consumption of power. We'll look at it more as we go along. But there's also then the connection of power, the distribution of power, or transmission of power. So we have this new thing right here, the electricity network. And this view we're looking at, you can see green's a producer, these two, and the orange are consumers. So let's just see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, and I shouldn't say that. The consumers are each of these little brown things, and we'll see as we get into it. Like if we were to connect so that these two had it and that one didn't, that one wouldn't be consuming. So I think each one of these in general counts as one. Not the little brown things, but one of these huge areas counts as one. We'll confirm that as we go along, but I do believe you could connect this town, and that's one of your connections. And then you could distribute power to all the different pieces in that. Anyway, we'll get into that and do a better job later when we actually see it. Infrastructure, that's what we're about to get into. Range for... I don't know what rock means in terms of electricity. We'll find out. Okay. So anyway, where was I? I was going to talk about the electricity network. So now we have power lines. We have electricity poles that have a range of 2. So from where they go out 2. So if we put one right there, it would connect to this, and would have a range of 2. So like you could run one here, for example, or here, and maybe get all of them. I don't know. We'll see how that works. You'll see it in action. Then we have transmission. So we have distribution lines, which are the small poles, medium poles, wood poles, if you want to think of it that way. See, it costs us 1 lumber. So we can put in smaller wooden poles to distribute the power in an area, like hook up power for the whole city kind of deal. And we have these transmission lines which carry the power over a greater distance. They have a range of 4, so we can use those to get the power to an area, like from this power plant down to this town. And transmission lines will cost us steel. So it's going to cost us a steel token every time we put in a transmission line or the big power pole. And it's going to cost us wood, a lumber token, every time we put in the wood poles. Then we have this distribution underwater, and this allows you to bury cable to go across a lake or something like that. But we don't, we don't even have any water on this map, so we won't be using those this time. And then we have these neat little things called a transformer. Now, the transformer in this game, the purpose of it, it's not to step down or step up with the power or anything like that. But what you can do is turn a node on or off. So, like, imagine you had your 8 connections and you connected, and you could connect actually 9 things and have maybe one of them, the power goes into a transformer and then goes from the transformer to this. So what is that right there? Well, that's a farm. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you can use these to turn it on and off. You'll see that as we go. And then we can remove the electricity powers by just using this. Similar to the way we've been removing track with that, we can remove the distribution network. Okay, so that's the basics of electricity. And the value of it, I think you can see, is you're just increasing your production all over the place. And it's really good for us on the small map because we have limited resources. We can make those resources produce more, or we can make our consumers more efficient so that they produce more of the tokens that we need. Another new building, the farm. The farm produces food. You can see it goes through its ticks and produces 6 food. If we give it electricity, it produces 10 food. Okay, so we can extend that farm, put in an animal shelter, which basically says, okay, now the farm's also producing meat, and then a granary, which doesn't even need electricity, which adds 4 at a pretty good clip, actually faster. It's interesting. There it is. Sorry. The granary produces, 4 every 3 ticks and 6 every 6 ticks. So the granary actually outproduces the farm. But of course it couldn't exist without the farm. And then we can, if we want to, we could run, if we got extra barrels of oil, we could run that down there and give it power, and power in another barrel. Plus well, first of all, the first barrel we send it without any power would produce 4 food quickly because you're fertilizing the farm. And then if we had powered the farm and given it an extra barrel of fertilizer, it can produce 8. So you could make this farm into producing a lot of food. And the food gets consumed in our cities in markets. So we've got a whole bunch of functionality now for the cities. In fact, right here is, see this little supermarket right here, supermarket and dry goods. Okay, that little dude right there, he consumes the food. So you put the food at a station where he's in the catchment area, and every on a cycle, every tick, it's going to consume 1 from that station, and you're going to make 2 coins every time they do it. So great money-making opportunity, plus it promotes city growth for the city. Now, the cities themselves now, there's just a whole bunch of new stuff here. The cities themselves have these things. First of all, let's break them up in pieces. We have shops. We can put shops in. See this? Let me turn so you can actually see it there. So we can put this little Old Town Mercantile in here, a shop. Well, what does the shop do? It's going to, we've already seen it. We've already started using delivering to them, but they weren't ones we placed. They were there in some of the cities. But we could throw down a shop and then feed it like the market. Every time we can bring goods into our station, it's in the catchment area of a shop, or in the catchment area of a ground station that we've set up, truck delivery or something, then it'll consume every tick. It will take a good and give us money. So we've got food and goods. Then we've got public services. So if we throw a well, a market, a saloon, fire station, elementary school, or police into a city, like here, let's give them a fire station. So this fire station provides service to the town, and it has a catchment area. So any houses in that catchment area will get the benefit of being near a fire station, and we'll get to what that benefit is in a moment. So there's all these different public services you can put down with all these different values. And this market is not to be confused with the food market. Okay, so then we go here. There's some to help you relax. There's a park and a tennis court, which we can't even afford, and a gallery. You can put a gallery. And then we have a couple of luxury items. Town can have a car dealer or a private TV station with its catchment area. And then we also have, okay, and this is interesting, we can set up a town grow area. So we can say, okay, build a house here, build one here. So we can pay to grow, and we can pay to not grow. Now, why would you pay to not grow? Let's see, do we have a good example? There's not a great example here, but imagine that this town, Plano, had grown out this way. We could put this down and say, no, this is restricted. Don't grow here because you're getting too close to this guy, because if we've got him running, he creates pollution. Okay, so you'd be negatively impacted by the pollution. And I think the idea of the game is that we can now design cities. So we could like create something that had, you know, a police station and a park and a food shop or whatever, and then it built houses around that, just as an example. And that would, all those houses would have all those things impacting it, or a positive influence on it to help it grow, but also to do this. Your residential buildings have growth factors based on public services, relaxation it should be, luxury, and then negative if it's near pollution. And what it'll do is the buildings will generate more people, and the town will grow faster if we have this positive influence. So we're growing the city by delivering people to it, delivering food to it, by placing these buildings, you know, the services, the relaxation, the luxury, that all that helps the city grow. And of course, we make money from the goods and the food. So a lot of new stuff. All right, so let's see what that means to us. Okay, we did this. That's good. We're going to still, like I said, we're still going to need to beef this up. Bigger, better, faster trains. That's what we're going to need to do. And I keep hinting at it, but eventually I want to clean this up. This is ugly. I'm not happy with that. But otherwise, it's looking okay. We're doing all right. Okay, so Crazy Crab asked in a comment from an earlier video. Remember, I'm recording these well ahead of when you see them. And he asked about tunnels. And he said, I get the bridges, I don't get the tunnels. Well, the simple answer is the tunnels and the bridges are identical in terms of how you do them. So let's go through the basics of it, and I've got a plan. We're going to tunnel this thing to death just to show you how they work. Tunnels and bridges, I think the trick, the number 3 is important in this game. For one reason is track. See this track right here? I've got it turning as hard as it will turn. And notice how many tiles it takes. 1, 2, 3. So you have to have room for 3 in order to make the sharpest turn that you can make. And that's really useful to know that, so that when you're planning something out and you want to put something in and you want to look like right here, can I make this turn? Well, do you have 3 tiles? If you do, you can. If you don't, you can't. So that's worth knowing, the 3. But then the other 3 is, if we look at let's look at our bridges. A bridge. And let's say we wanted to build a bridge and cross. I'd like to find a single piece of track. Here we go. We want to cross that. We want to build a bridge across that track. Well, watch if I start at 1. See, I get a wrong track crossing, which is wrong track crossing. It's really cannot cross the track, or insufficient height to cross the track is what it's really saying. So if I start at 1, it doesn't work, right? If I start 2 back, see, it's fine there until it gets to that thing. And what it is it hadn't had enough time to go high enough to get over that object, right? So that doesn't work. But if I start at 3 and put 3 on each side, it's got enough room, because now that makes enough room for it to have enough climb so that it can climb up and go over that object and go back down on the other side. So 3 is worth knowing, and that's the same thing with a tunnel. I do the tunnel the same way. I select it. If I do 1, it won't work. If I do 2, it won't work. If I do 3, it works. And see what it does there. See, if you can see the gold, it creates an entrance and an exit, or 2 entrances, however you want to look at it, and it automatically digs down low enough to go underneath the object you're going under, and come back up on the other side. And we'll see. I don't want to build one there and waste the money, but we'll see what it does when you do that on level ground. Now you can also do it into a mountain. We don't really have good mountains here. On a mountain map, you use these a lot, but we can build a tunnel like right here, where we're down lower, and notice how it's kind of straight. Let me go down lower. If I start here and come out the other end, see, if I come out here, it's going up higher because it's trying to match that altitude. So you're really climbing. You're using the tunnel to go down a little bit and level up, or from left to right, you're going down and going across, and from right to left, you're going level, and then you're going up one level of altitude, so to speak. Or you could drag it all the way across, and now you're just making a level tunnel. So from the train's point of view, the track's point of view, everything's level. Everything on the left side starts and the right side ends on the same altitude. So it just builds your level track, and it's really useful when you get into the mountain maps. Which, if you guys show enough interest, we'll play a mountain map. They are completely different, much harder than this, and kind of fun. So that's the basics of tunnels. They also, just like a bridge, I can drag it up, I can drag it to the right. I can't go out this way. I can't go here or here or here. So you have to plan these on the squares, so to speak. Up and down, left to right, but no diagonals. Okay? So that's the basics of tunnels. Now, what are we going to do? Well, we want to do this power right here. Oh, I'm sorry. There is something else I want to fix before we get there. This intersection here is still driving me crazy. And I wanted to show you a best practice that I just didn't have enough sense to think of, and also talk about block size. So the way we've got this right now, you come out, you go over here. Well, we could get in a situation where trains coming out like this, and again, we're not using any block signals here. A train comes out like this, one comes out like this, one's coming that way. We could actually get gridlock here. It would be possible. And we also got this horrible thing where we're looping over the track. So we're actually creating a crossing here, which means more points for trains to slow down, and here. So we've created 2 points where we could slow down. Well, there's one super easy fix to this. If we don't want to do any bridges or tunnels or anything to kind of avoid the crossings, we could still have we can still simplify this a whole bunch. And the way we would do that is like this. Let me just blow up that whole piece of track there. Instead of going like this, what if we came in the other way? Now, what if we came from this side, came across and came in, and then went out this side? That would eliminate this crossing as well, right? We wouldn't need to go over there anymore. We could just go out here. So I'm going to flip these so it'll be easy for you to visualize. If we're going this way, now we've got a simple just drive onto the track, right, with no crossing. And then over here we have to have a crossing, because we do. I mean, if we come down this way, you have to cross somehow. But what we can do is cross coming in the other way, which will give us the advantage that you just drive off to get onto that, right? You don't have to. So now we've crossed the main line once, but not twice up here, and 0 times here. So now with this, we would cross the main track 1 time instead of 1, 2, 3 times. So much better. That's one concept, is kind of exit to the right, enter from the right when you can, if you're driving on the right. And then the other one is we want to have a block defined here we want to have kind of almost like a waiting line or an entry point. We want this guy to be able to when a train comes down here and decides to go this way to get to that platform, we want him to get completely off of this line so he's not tying things up. And then the other thing we can do is, this is a good place where we could use block signal and say, look at that right there. Look there. Look there. They need to fix that. When you're in signaling mode and you click this, you don't want the station to open up. That's I guess a sensitivity issue, I guess we'll call it. So what we want to be able to say now is, you're going to come off completely. You're going to look at this chain signal. Now the chain signal looks at the next block and the following block and says, can I get across this and across this? And if I can, I'll go on in, but I'm not going to cross here until I can get all the way into my platform. Now, we're probably already going to be running 1 train. If we're only running 1 train, it's not going to be a big deal. But if we decide to run a second one now, we'd be fine, because if they happen to both be down here at the same time, the first one would be in here, and the second one would come here and wait until he cleared out, and then he would go in. So look how much cleaner this is than what we had before. And again, big thing is, we have 1 time we have to cross the main line instead of 3. So I think that's, I just, brain went to sleep for a while, or I should have thought of that right away, but let's just call that a lesson learned and try to keep that in mind going down the road. Okay. In fact, if you look at these blocks, those were 6s. I made them too small. But there's room for an entire train to get off there, is the main point. All right, so okay, that's better. We've improved the foundry. Let's deal with electricity and with tunnels. At one point, I had thought about trying to improve our diesel production by taking this oil and running it over here, running more trains, and having more oil being delivered to this iron ore mine. More oil delivered to this refinery. Good grief. And then have the refinery, so that we can keep that refinery humming and keep this little train busy, running oil refined oil to our factory so we could keep pumping out the diesel tokens. But things have changed significantly now with electricity. I think we have a new purpose for this, and that is to feed the power plant. So we need the oil going to a refinery and the refined oil going to the power plant in order to generate electricity. Now the coal one should be easier. It's just coal and it seems pretty straightforward. But I want to deal with this one first because it's the hardest one in this case. Because we look at this. Look at all this track we've got right here. It's kind of our original connection with the depot that was ill-fated and poorly designed because it was too close. There's not enough space. It's where all of our this is our main passenger line through here. I'm going to let this run till that train gets out of our way. And okay, that should be good. Now, we're going to have fun. That is if you think deleting stuff is fun. All right, or pulling out the bulldozer. So here we go. We're going to start blowing stuff up. We don't need any of that. Well, we may have to replace that in a way, but we don't need it for now. We're going to blow this up, how far? Pretty far, actually. Now, all of this is our original way that you used to come into the system and go down here, right? But we've redesigned that to have these bridges that come across, and the trains go this way and go out this way in order to come in or in and out of our coal mine and foundry down here. So we're going to, there we go. Now, our oil station has a little bit of room. I wouldn't say it has a lot of room, but it has some room. Now, we've destroyed our passenger mail line. Now, how are we going to fix that? Well, what we're going to do, let's see, it runs from here. I'm going to double check, see right here. Double check to see if the lines can go through here. And they can. So what we're going to do is hook our passenger mail line back in like this. Then we're going to pull out a tunnel, and notice there are 1, 2, 3 spaces here. Grab a tunnel, start pulling it across like this, and we're going to tunnel all the way over here. Now, can you see what it's done? It's gone down. It's built a tunnel entrance, started going down, had to go down 3 to get deep enough, and now it's going to run under the power station, run across, and hook back in here. Okay? So there. And see what it did? See how it built this, kind of built up the area around the tunnel entrance. So now, and how many squares do you think that is? It's 3. In fact, it's 3 by 3. So this 3 by 3 area is what it needs to build the entrance on flat land. So it's got the tunnel entrance. You go down, 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 down 3 elevation changes, and you go across like this underneath our power station, back up. And we're going to do the same thing over here next to it. Double track it. Okay. Now, our passenger mail lines are completely hooked up again. They're running just fine, just like they were. And look at this. We've created space for our power station. So we can decide how we want it to look, how we want to set it up. All we're ever going to do, nothing's going to come out of that. There's nothing in here that we need to bring out of the power station. We just need to be bringing it barrels of refined oil, or eventually maybe crude oil if we decide to upgrade it like that. And those barrels are going to come from this refinery here, because this refinery up here is busy with this, plus it's just very awkward to get to. So we'll use this refinery right here going to this power station. So let's put in a station next to the power station, and we make sure we have at least 3 to turn around because we're not using the magic flips. So let's do it we don't suppose we could get away with, yeah, we, nope, that's too low. Now let's just do right here. This will do fine. Yeah. Okay, so there's our power station. You know what? No. There's our power station. We'll leave room here to upgrade. We can do upgrades to the station over here. And then what we'll do is have it loop. Let's see. That's interesting. That's interesting. I hadn't planned on doing it this way, but if it hooked up to this, came across that bridge like this, it would be just dumping. It could just go whoop and dump right into our oil power station, and then coming out. Coming out, it could just go over here, and we could build a little bypass line like this, and it could hook back into this system and go right back out, and we almost wouldn't have to buy it or build anything. Now, I had planned, when I looked at this before I started the video, I had planned on maybe putting tunnels here and let it hook in like this. But I have to tell you that now that I look at this, and we've got our, this is kind of, think of this is our passenger line and this is our freight line. We could just connect into the freight line from over here. Maybe do it back so we're not so close to the bridge, give it a running start whenever possible. Or even give it a, would that work? No. There's not enough room to use another one of these cool little mini junctions, but that's okay. Yeah, let's do that. That's okay. So before we do that, let's go over here to the refinery and think of how we would want to get stuff in and out of there. So, well, pretty obvious, we need a station. We can put that station away from this. Well, you know, we could build it right here, which would be fine, and just let the passenger line run kind of through it, so to speak. Or we could set up our passenger line. I mean, we could build another tunnel and just tunnel under it with the passenger line, and that way we wouldn't have to even. It'd be like the passenger line didn't exist. We just got it completely out of our own way. That would be pretty cool. Or we could reroute the passenger line and have it come over this way and go underneath and back out, and kind of open up this space for the freight. That could be done. But we've got plenty of room here to turn. I think we're going to go simple for now. But do you see it? I hope all my mumbling made sense. A tunnel from here to over here would allow us to just pretend there was no passenger line, wouldn't it? Yes, it would, he said. Let's pretend there is no passenger line. In other words, let's go like this. I mean, this is going to be the kind of the tunnel episode. So pause. Then we want to build a tunnel that comes into this, probably at that same height would be good. And let's just go, and this is expensive, you know, this costs a lot of money, and we need to have 3 to turn. And imagine we were to expand this and put another line in here. We might want to have a more direct entry into it. Probably not. Let's just run our tunnel out to about Does that help us? Yeah, about here. Okay, and then out this way, let's go. We can make it pretty big, like this. Gives us a lot of space. Okay, so let's put a tunnel going through here like that. And because we had 3 spaces here before the refinery, it had plenty of time to come up. So now we're going to go, okay. So now our passenger line is just going to run through that tunnel. And the tunnel itself, by the way, can you see those little green? It can have signals in it, of course. So we're going to do signals there, and I forgot to do them here, I think. We'll do them like this and like that. Okay. See the green down here, here and here. So we got the signals in there, and we've tunneled under the refinery. So from the refinery's point of view, pretty much eliminated the passenger line. I don't know that was not necessary. That was more like let's build another tunnel. They're cool. All right. But the nice thing is, look at this. I mean, we can just build our station right over top of where that track used to be. We could build our station right here if we wanted to. And have it come in like this, go out like that, or we could build it this way. And it kind of doesn't matter. Or we could even build it over there where I was going to build it anyway. Which I like, except remember our rule of 3. We want to make sure that our track can come out like this. We don't want to be messing with this area, because see, we can't build on this. It's making those almost like little. When you see these triangles on squares, you can't build on them. You can't build on rock, period, because it's too steep, and you can't build on the triangles unless you're going just like at certain straight angles into them. But if you're trying to take any kind of curve, and this is stuff, again, we'll see this in the mountain map much more. Okay, so let's leave 1, 2, 3. Let's follow our rule of 3 and put our station here. If we expand it to 8, we'll still have enough room to get out of there. Okay. So they're going to want to get oil in, and they're going to want to take barrels of oil out. So we'll give it at least a couple of platforms. And yeah, and we can upgrade along here. That's why it is good we got rid of this. We can put our station upgrades, if we want any, along here, and factory upgrades right here. They just have to touch that. Each piece needs to touch another piece. Okay, so what did that mean? Oh, yes. So now we want to be able to run. I'm going to kind of, let's see, how do we want to do this? I want to have a decent amount of space, couple of trains worth, out through here for each of these. So I want this to be able to go, let's say 16. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I want to have a decent runway for this one. Like that. And then this is going to be the line that comes in, and we can put it like so. So this is kind of returning from the how did I see that working? Yeah, sorry, spacing out there a little bit, but let's see. Yeah. So you come in like this, and like that. So now this Sorry. I want to start that over just to go through the. What I really wanted was 2 runways, right? Really, yeah, 2 runways. Similar to the, remember the discussion down here about giving space for these things, particularly if you're loading and unloading. So 2 runways. Now those 2 runways can be basically tied together. So you're going to come off like this, and then you're going to get on those 2 runways. So then, because we're not using magic flips, we need to be able to come around, turn around, and go back. And we'll go back like this. Shoot. We'll come off like that. Connect like so. Okay, so you will loop like that, that, that. That. And you need to be able to get off and leave the same way. Okay, signal to death, and there we go. So now we've got, we're going to call this one Refinery South. And we'll name this one over here Oil Power Station. Or Oil Power. Okay. And it doesn't need to be near Plano. Oil Power and Refinery South. Okay. So now we've connected, no we haven't. All we've done is connect a refinery to our, kind of our freight line. So now what we need to be able to do is come off of that freight line and into this. And, let's see. So the question there becomes, do we think there's so much traffic here that we would care? I don't think so, at least not now. We could redesign this later. I'm finding blowing stuff up and rebuilding it is a lot of fun. I never liked that. I always thought it was an insult to my own gameplay to use a bulldozer and change what you're doing. But this game sort of demands it because it has... because you don't know what their map's going to look like when you pass through each area, because you get all this new stuff, and right, and this all this new stuff magically appears, and you know, how do you deal with it? All right, so so if you came in here and then you went out. Oh no, I didn't count my 3, did I? Look at that. I didn't count my 3. Shoot, shoot, shoot. All right. Let's fix this. Delete 1 there. We may have to delete 2. And bring the station back this way, and then come out like that, and we're going to build a line. I don't think we can get through there. Oh, we can. Look at that. Look at that. We can. We'll build a bypass line, and since now I know where that is. we'll hook these up like so. So you come out and get on this bypass line, kind of go around it, no reason to fool with that station, but then you can go kind of quickly join the fun here and use that to get back around, get on the bridge, go back. So now we've created a connection from this. Yeah, so this and this are connected, but we also need to bring in the oil. So the oil needs to be able to go over here. It also needs to be able to potentially, eventually come over here. We won't worry about that one yet. So to get it over here, there's also a fairly easy thing we could do, is plug it in here. This is a freight line. This is our main east-west freight line. Run it down here, let it come down this, and it's on this, and then we just have to swing it over here. So this right here is becoming a bit of a to-do, isn't it? It's becoming, you know what it's becoming? It is becoming a stamp. Yes, it is. Or no, let me think about this. If we put a clover leaf right here, shoot, wish it was easier to see. Okay, if we put a clover leaf like this, we'd have just enough space to turn and miss the city. But our other problem would be, what I'd really like to do is put a clover leaf like here. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Oh, that would be excellent. Now hit that like button so we can keep going with this series and come back next time to see what we end up doing here. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it'll help you become a better player. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for our next Mashinky.